Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Sources of farm power. Power is defined as the rate of doing work or the rate of expenditure of energy. Farm power can be obtained from the following sources, which are the human power, the animal power, the mechanical power, the solar power, the water power, the electrical power, the wind power, and the biogas. The human power is derived from the power provided by human beings. It is the most common source of power in farm operations. With the aid of his intelligence, man uses his hand to perform certain farm operations. Human labor is used with traditional tools. It involves more people than all other sources of power. Human labor can be hired, it may be skilled or unskilled. In farm operations which require human power, are the crop production. Human power is required in all farm operations. In crop production, for example, human power is required in land clearing, stumping, land preparation, for example, harrowing, plowing, and ridging. It is required in weeding, planting, harvesting, storage, and food processing. In human power, as we've earlier said, man uses his intelligence to control the work he does. It is easily available in all farm operations. It is easy to control and readily available. It is used with traditional tools, and it can be used for jobs that require precision. The animal power. Animal power is a type of power derived from some animals which are used to perform certain farm operations. Animals like the bull are used for pulling plows, harrows, planters, ridgers, while donkeys, camels, and horses are used for transportation of farm produce. Animals can be hired. Draught animals such as oxen, bullock, etc. are yoked. The yoke is attached to any farm implement. The animal drags the implement while the man controls the direction of the implement for the tillage of the soil. A good draught animal must have a good body size or deep barrel. It must possess strong hoofs, good stride, and stance. It must have strong hind legs and a sloping rump. It should be preferably male or castrated. It should be healthy and must be energetic or strong or powerful. Precautions to be observed when using draught animals are: 1. You should treat animals fairly to prevent them from being hostile. You should apply muzzle. You should not overwork the animals. You should keep them in a healthy environment. Feed and provide them with adequate water, and the best time to use them to work is early in the morning or in the evening. Farm operations which require animal power. Animal power in farm operations could be employed to carry people, to draw plows, to draw harrows, to draw ridgers, for transportation loads, and for drawing planters. Animal power can perform more tedious job than man because the output is about 500 weight for a bull. Animal power can handle many farm operations. The initial outlay is cheap relative to cost of machines. That is, it is cheap to purchase. It can be controlled or easy to operate. Animals do not get fatigued easily compared with man. They can operate in rugged terrains, and it has a relatively low maintenance cost compared to machines. The mechanical power. Mechanical power is power that requires the use of machines and engines like planters, harvesters, plows, harrows, ridgers to carry out various farm operations like plowing, harrowing, weeding, harvesting, planting, processing, and transportation. They facilitate the cultivation of large hectares of land. Machines are used in tractions, grinding, food processing, and others. Examples are tractors, generators, bulldozers, water pumps, etc. Mechanical power is required in many farm operations which include plowing, planting, ridging, weeding, grinding, stumping, harrowing, harvesting, traction, and food processing, transportation of inputs and outputs, and feed milling, traction, food processing, etc. Mechanical power can handle more land area per unit of time. It reduces labor cost and overall cost of production. It works faster and more efficiently, and it is not prone to diseases. They reduce farm labor, or they make farm work less tedious. Mechanical power can perform a wide range of farm operations, and they make farm operations timely. The solar power. Solar power or solar energy is derived from the radiation light and heat reaching the Earth's surface from the sun. The energy from the sun is the ultimate source of energy. Solar energy is converted into electrical energy by solar panels installed in buildings. It's trapped by photovoltaic cells or solar collectors or panels. It is then converted to electrical energy which can be stored in batteries and can also be used directly. Solar power is required in the following farm operations. 1. In the generation of electricity or electrical power, for processing farm produce, for heating farmstead, and also solar energy is used by crops for photosynthesis. Solar energy is used by crops for photosynthesis, and it can be used for several farm operations. Solar energy is used by crops for photosynthesis, and electricity generated by solar energy and electricity generated from solar energy can be used for several farm operations. Solar power or energy is a cheap source of energy. Solar power is a cheap source of energy. It is easily available, it is free, and it is a neat source of energy. The disadvantages of solar power is that it is only available during the day, it cannot be adjusted and stored, it is expensive to harness and store, excess of it can cause transpiration and evaporation, its supply cannot be controlled, and it fluctuates in supply. Water power. Water power is the power derived from water flowing in rivers, streams, and dams. Water is used in hydroelectric stations to drive the turbines. Water power is required for the following farm operations. 1. In hydroelectric power stations, water is used to drive turbines that generate electricity. It is used in transportation, for example logs, farm goods, etc. It is used by crops for normal growth. The electricity so generated can be used for many farm operations. It is used to operate steam engines, and it can be used for processing farm products. Water power is very cheap. It is easy to be harnessed. It can easily be converted to other forms of energy. Disadvantages of water power is that low level of water can hinder low electricity output. Supply is affected by weather. Water power is not available in all areas. It must be harnessed to generate power. It could be destructive if carelessly handled. It could be destructive if carelessly handled, and it does not supply power directly. Electrical power. Electrical power is a type of power derived from electricity or generator. Electricity is used for many purposes. It is a neat or clean source of energy. It is very efficient and reliable but expensive. Electrical power is required in the following farm operations. 1. It is required in refrigeration, in incubation, in drying of products, in milking machines. It is required in the brooding of chicks, in the shelling of fruits or seeds. It is required for most processing operations, for example, in threshing, in winnowing, etc. It is also required in debaking, egg grading, etc. Electrical power cannot contaminate products. Therefore, it makes them safe for human consumption. It is very versatile in that it can be used for various services. It could be used for various services at different times. Electrical power is a cheap source of power. It is very neat. It is very dependable. It aids fast operation or increases production. It is efficient or saves labor, and it is easy to operate. The disadvantages of electrical power is that its supply is not always regular, especially in developing countries. It is dangerous or fatal if carelessly handled. It can cause fire hazards. Its maintenance cost may be high. It must be strictly controlled or regulated. It cannot be widely used in field operations, and it is very expensive. The wind power. The wind power is generated by wind movement. The wind power. Wind power is power generated by wind movement. Its use in windmill helps to pump water out of a borehole to a generating set for the production of electricity. Wind power can be converted to mechanical power. Wind power is required in the following farm operations, which are 1. In the operation of windmills in which the force of the wind is converted into electricity. It is used for drying produce. It is used for winnowing, that is the separation of chaff from grains. It can be used for propelling ships. It can be used to generate electrical power, and also it may be used in pumping water out of a borehole. Wind power can serve as alternative to electrical power. It is available everywhere and it is cheap. But its supply is sporadic and uncertain as power depends on the wind. It is limited to certain farm operations. Its operation is expensive compared with the energy it generates. Efficiency is highly varied and it cannot be stored, and it is difficult to control. The biogas. The biogas is a new method of generating power by making use of farm waste. The biogas. The biogas is a new method of generating power by making use of farm waste, especially animal dung. Animal dung here is carefully collected and processed through scientific means to produce certain gas that provides power. Animal droppings mixed with water are accumulated in airtight device called digester or dome. As it decays anaerobically by microbes, hydrocarbon, which is a colorless and odorless gas, is released. This hydrocarbon is stored and used for heating and lighting. Biogas consists of a cheap source of power. Power derived from biogas can be used as a source of heat for brooding chicks. It can convert chemical power in dung to heat power. The power can also be used for cooking and drying, and it can be easily controlled. Disadvantages of biogas is that it is not a common source of power. It is only limited to where animals are reared on commercial basis, where dung is easily available. It may be expensive to set up and maintain, and also it requires expertise which may not be easily available.